Sammy Levitt joins us from Peoria, Arizona, posting a lot of great content today on the 97.3 The Fan page. A lot of great matchups. We're going to get to that in a second. But Sam, what's going on? How's your Friday going out there in Arizona?
Yeah, it's a good day here in Peoria. It's a little chilly, unexpectedly chilly. So the sun has not popped out at all. Very, very overcast skies. First sort of not perfect weather day we've had so far in spring training. But I feel like every year we go through a little bit of a cold spell and some rain. It rarely has been perfect throughout. So we're getting a little bit of chilly weather. But other than that, relatively good and I would say pretty quiet day here at spring training so far. I think this early in spring, to be honest with you, Braden, no news is usually good news this early in spring. And we've certainly seen around the game a lot of injuries so far. So to this point, it's been very uneventful, which I think you can definitely say is a good thing for the Padres so far.
Now, in my time living in Arizona, whatever the weather San Diego got a couple of days later, Arizona was probably going to get. Yeah. So it was chilly a couple of days ago, Sam. So hopefully it doesn't stay that chilly out there. Let's get to some of the sound that you have provided for 97.3 The Fan before we talk about some of the things that have happened on the backfield. But you got to meet with a couple of players already, one of them being Miguel Andújar and kind of what his role is going to be in 2026. How was the conversation with Miguel Andújar, and what were some of the biggest takeaways you got out of that conversation?
Yeah, Miguel's excited to be here. He's, I think ready to assume any role the Padres have for him. And to me, that sounds like potentially a significant part of it is going to be playing some first base. Now, that's a place he's not played a ton of. He has played some first base. But based on what he said today, based on what Craig Stammen has said, I mean, I think it potentially is going to be a significant part of what he does. Now, he does have the ability, obviously, to play some different spots on the infield and has versatility for sure. And obviously, we know his numbers against left-handed pitching have been good. So, look, I think the Padres expect him at bare minimum to be a guy they can plug into the lineup against lefties. How much he plays probably will be based on his performance and also how they feel about him defensively. But I do think he's going to be given an opportunity to go play some first base. And I would not be surprised if you see them sort of introduce him there at a level he has never really had in his career. So it's going to be interesting to see once we get into the games and some of the lineups to see how much he is getting work at first base. But this is somebody who, at bare minimum, if he can hit lefties and play good enough defense at a couple of different spots, could be very, very valuable to this team. So he's an interesting part of the equation for sure.
The other player that you talked to after they announced the Michael King signing, if you will, and that's Jason Adam. And in that conversation that was during our showtime, I mean, he made it sound like he could be ready for opening day. Now, after a couple of months of him working out and getting to that point, you got to talk to him again. What's the latest update on how Jason Adam is feeling and what his mindset is going into the season about when he could be back?
Yeah, I talked to him earlier today, and I mean, he absolutely believes he can be ready by opening day. I mean, he absolutely wants it and believes it. Now, I don't know that it's going to be totally up to him.
Right.
In fact, I do know it's not going to be totally up to him. It will be up to the team and how they want to progress him. But from a health standpoint, look, what he's doing already, I mean, I saw him moving really well in agility work, throwing his normal bullpen. He said it from a pitching standpoint, he feels better this year than he did in years prior. So he's ready to go. The hurdle that he's going to have to get over is the fielding his position and making sure the Padres feel he's in a place where he's 100% game ready to go. And he made the point to me earlier today, look, he's got to be healthy for the full season and healthy at the end of the year. And that is certainly a part of this. So could he be ready by opening day? It certainly seems like he believes that. Will he be on the opening day roster? I think that remains to be seen and probably is going to depend on how he progresses and how careful the Padres want to be with him. I do, wonder if there will be an element to the idea of this is a really good bullpen, even without Jason Adam. Obviously, Adam makes them even better. And you could argue, Adam may end up having the best season of all of them. I mean, he's that good. He's that effective. So, and we've seen it here in San Diego. So, it could be a situation where you can afford to kind of slow play it a little bit. So we'll see. He definitely believes it and sounds like he is well on track to be ready for opening day. Whether that actually becomes a reality, we'll see. But it's great news because I think, when the injury happened and when it happened last season and how it looked, I think if you would have asked a lot of us, we would have said, oh, that's going to be something where he's back, kind of more towards the middle of the year. And that is not going to be the situation. He's going to be back soon, if not on opening day.
We're talking with Sam Levitt live from Peoria, Arizona for our second of our weekly hits that we are going to do with Sam a couple times a week for the next couple of weeks as he's out there in Arizona. Sam, you met with again daily scrum with Craig Stammen today. Focus a little bit more on the catchers. I know yesterday he had a lot of thoughts about the catching position. A lot of reporters asking about, is that an area to AJ Preller of whether or not they will add a piece. The last couple of days, all the catching news. What can you tell us about the catching position, how Stammen views it, and what AJ Preller's thinking?
Yeah, look, from what I can tell and what's being said, I don't expect the Padres are going to add as far as their catching group. I mean, it really sounds like, obviously Freddie Fermin, and that Luis Campusano is going to be viewed as the number 2 guy. I mean, look, never say never. We know with AJ Preller, there could be a guy that comes in here and a la a Martin Maldonado and ends up on the team most of the season. I mean, remember, Martin was not here, originally in spring and shows up and kind of took that job along with Elias Diaz. So never say never, but I feel confident right now in saying that they view Fermin and Campusano as their 2 guys. And I think a point that Craig Stammen made earlier today was a really interesting one. In addition to obviously, wanting Campusano to translate what he did from AAA to the big leagues and obviously, play good enough defense behind the plate, to have the ability to play there at the big league level. I think the other thing that's really, really interesting and a good point is Freddie Fermin has never been a number 1 catcher for a full season. Remember, he always had Salvador Perez in Kansas City, and that's not a knock on Freddie at all. He has not been asked to be the everyday primary guy.
Which is very difficult to do at the major league level in general.
Of course it is. So I think it's a really good point, and I think it just emphasizes how important Luis Campusano is to this team. And, if they are going to put the trust in him to take that secondary catcher spot, get significant playing time behind the plate, man, Luis becomes a very, very important part of this team. He really, really does. And to me, from what AJ said yesterday, from what Craig said today, I'm very confident in saying they view this as Campy's job, and also they view it as the biggest runway he's had to take that position and run with it. Look, obviously he's had opportunities before, but this does feel a little bit different where it's like, he's in all likelihood going to be the guy, I guess, unless something crazy happens. I don't see anybody else in the catching group who would really take it from him. And he's going to get that opportunity to play and play significantly. And, it feels like they're really, really hoping that he can do some really good things and translate what he did from AAA last year and be a significant part of this club in 26.
Are you surprised that they didn't bring anybody in for competition for Campusano for the backup spot? I'm a little surprised because it's like you don't want to just give him the spot, and I know that you want him to win the spot, but I with the way that you bring in, and you can never have too many catchers for spring training to catch bullpens and everything. I was a little surprised that they didn't bring in somebody to kind of push Luis, because right now it doesn't seem like there's anybody pushing him. Not that he needs it, but surprising at this level that they didn't do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, last year they did, to your point, with Maldonado. Maybe it's a little surprising based on where you kind of viewed him last year. Now, a lot has happened since the end of last year. There's a new manager and a new staff, and maybe that's part of this where they view him differently. Maybe they're more willing to give Luis those opportunities both in the lineup and behind the plate. Maybe there has been an attitude change towards Luis Campusano and what they feel like he can bring. So that's what stands out to me. It seems to be kind of a different tone, right now, and we shall see. But I think you make a fair point that, if you would have looked at the start of the offseason and said there would not be a significant, well, I don't know how significant, but at least somebody you feel like that could really also you pair with Fermin, I would have been surprised. I don't know that I would have anticipated, based on how it ended last year, that it would just sort of look right from the get-go like it's going to be Fermin and Campusano, but it does appear to be that way. So, yeah, I think it's a little surprising maybe, but everything they're saying here, it sounds like they want to give him that opportunity and allow him to take it and run with it.
We're talking with Sam Levitt live in Peoria, Arizona, giving our bi-weekly, or no, our couple of times this week update from spring training. Let's talk about the bullpen sessions today. And a couple of things that stood out to me on some of the videos that you posted. One was how involved the other pitchers are with their fellow teammates when it comes to their bullpen, and almost like extra coaches out there. And the other one was some of the position players kind of observing some of the bullpens. So a question that I have really for Fernando that maybe you can ask, and maybe you've asked them, I'd love to know the takeaways that some of these big league hitters get from watching their own pitchers have bullpens. And if you've asked that question, I'd love to know. But also talk to us a little bit about the camaraderie that this club has. I mean, this pitching staff seems like they're pretty close together based on the images and the videos that you have posted on Twitter.
Yeah, well, I think your overall point is definitely true. I think it's one of the really good things about having a very, very similar group, and now a group of guys. I mean, you talk about these guys that have been together a long time. I mean, the core of this team has now been together a long time, and they've had ups and they've had downs. What stands out to me from a pitching standpoint, and I think it's very, very clear, and guys have talked about it a lot over the last couple of years, especially with the starters, it's a very, very close group, and they push each other and they help each other, and they are always there watching each other's bullpens. They're always behind the screen watching each other's live BPs during spring training. It's a very, very, very close group, and it's led by guys like Musgrove and King and now Pivetta. It's there. I'm not around every team to know well enough if that's common or not, but at least here with the Padres, it's a very, very, very close-knit, supportive group of pitchers, and I think you can tell that every single day, especially here in spring when there's so much there's so many bullpens and so much learning and teaching going on and adjusting and trying to learn different pitches. Like I don't know what Joe was working on exactly today, but there was a lot going on with his grips and the Edgertronic machine, and looking at how the ball was coming out of his hand. I don't know if he's working on something new or what it was, to be honest with you. I didn't ask him after he was done, but it was a pretty good example today watching somebody like Michael King really, really work with him very closely on what the relationship is like with those guys.
A lot of great live BP today. You posted a lot of good matchups today. Mason Miller was in action today against at least Fernando Tatis Jr. and Gavin Sheets from the videos that have been posted on social media. Fernando also faced Justin Yeager later on. But, for a guy like Mason Miller and Fernando, I mean, these are guys that are getting ramped up for the World Baseball Classic. So obviously they're probably moving along a little bit further. But you can go and watch some of the updates again. We preface this by saying the results don't really matter in these live at-bats. Everybody's working on something before you think somebody's cooked or this pitcher's going to get shelled, whatever it may be. But what was your biggest takeaway in watching some of these matchups? Because it's kind of fun to see Mason Miller face Fernando and Gavin Sheets.
Yeah, it is. When I posted yesterday, JP Sears striking out Manny, some of the commentary.
Yeah, Tristan McKenzie gives up a knock up the middle to Ethan Salas. Salas is ready for the big leagues. Cut McKenzie. We can't have him. He can't handle this guy.
The thing about it, too, not only is just the premise ridiculous of judging these things on February 12th, February 13th, but, I'm not totally sure that the guys yesterday, like Fernando and Manny, when they were taking those at bats, like they didn't swing very much.
They
like,
just stand in there sometimes too.
Yeah, I mean they swung a little bit, but like it almost felt to me like they were just mainly trying to track pitches with like maybe a swing here or there.
Which they have them do this early on in spring training.
Guess why? Because it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
They don't care about what happens in the live at bat on Field 5 on February 12th. But with that said, it still is fun because we see things that we don't see the rest of the year, and that's a good example today was Mason Miller, which is always fun to watch him because he's so dominant and he throws so hard and he's so tall. Yeah, it's a pleasure. I mean, it really is to watch him, and everybody was back there, and we were all sort of hoping that he would face some of the big guys, and he did. He faced Fernando. That was fun. He faced Gavin Sheets. That was fun. He faced Xander. That was fun. Again, he quote unquote struck out Fernando. Meanwhile, everybody.
Hey, he said check it. He said check it. Sam.
All the hitters were adamant that the pitch was way low. And Gavin Sheets, and you got him to quote unquote strike out. So I don't put a lot of stock in the results, but it's fun. It really is. And a cool element, and I was talking about it with some people beforehand, really cool element of Mason against Fernando, is that's a matchup you could very well see in the WBC if those two teams meet, the U.S. and the Dominican, right? You think about a late game situation. Can't you see Mason facing Fernando and Manny late in a close game? I mean, very, very, very likely scenario, really, when you think about the WBC. So kind of cool to see those guys face off, and might not be the last time we see it here over the next week or so.
I don't think they've probably talked about it yet because they haven't had the full workouts quite yet, Sam. Yeah. But I'm curious as this goes about, to talk about the ABS system and Fernando already tapping his helmet, right? Like what the if they're going to work on that at all on some of these backfields, what the strategy might be, right? Because you only get a handful, and if you lose it, you lose it. So
right.
I'm curious to see how they're going to structure that, and I'm sure that will be a question for Craig later on during spring training that you can monitor. But have they pulled the system out at all? Have they done anything like that yet?
No,
I would imagine they probably haven't yet.
Yeah, well, I don't know that they can do it on the backfields. I guess they're looking at the TrackMan data and can kind of do it through that,
right? Because they don't have the video boards out there to look and see, right?
But a couple of notes on the ABS. Number one, Craig actually got asked about it a little bit today, and the question, if I recall correctly, was essentially, have you, kind of given any parameters to who you want to be able to challenge and who you don't?
I think that's an important question, especially.
Or maybe the question was actually about catchers, like.
Right. You want catchers over pitchers
doing it. Now, I know in the minor leagues, from what I've heard, in the minor leagues, for the most part, most teams said pitchers don't.
Yeah, their success rate wasn't very good, and so they had the catchers.
The thinking there was the pitchers are too emotional about the pitches to be doing that.
Right.
And also they're also not receiving the baseball. So it always sounded to me like it was very much a catcher based thing. And obviously hitters can do it too. So Craig essentially answered the question by saying, look, they've had plenty of conversations so far about the ABS. They have not come up with the quote unquote ground rules for how they're going to employ it and who can challenge and exactly the strategy. They do have on the staff, Kevin Plawecki, who caught it AAA for a while with it. So he's been kind of a resource about it. It's funny. Craig Stammen brought up that he said he pitched rehab games with the full ABS system when it was implemented at some level in the minor leagues over the last handful of years. So long answer, less long. It sounds like it's still a work in progress, kind of how they're going to treat it. But I will say this, last year when it got introduced at the spring training games, it was very much like this, kind of this fun novelty thing that nobody really cared about. I will say, if I'm a manager, if I'm a team this year, I would treat it more seriously and really 100%. Be using it as kind of practice. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes during spring training. And then obviously at the start of the year as well. I like it. We probably talked about it plenty last year as it was being implemented in the Cactus League. I really like it. I thought it added just a little different element. I thought it was exciting. I thought it was simple enough, quick enough. So I think it's going to be ultimately a good thing.
I think it's going to be entertaining for a lot of fans too. I wanted to get that on your radar. We'll talk to you again next week. I know it's the lunchtime hour for us. It's already 1:00 for you guys out there in Arizona. We're not on the same time frame yet, but Sam, keep up the good work. Look forward to talking to you next week, and we'll see you then.
All right, guys, have a good weekend. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Sam. Sammy Lev joining us from Peoria, Arizona.